deficit reduction meetings are open to the public. So, as we have an open discussion on what needs to be perhaps considered to be cut, or what some of the decisions that need to happen, the public is open to attend those meetings. There'll be a public forum where they can speak, but they won't necessarily be able to participate in the conversation. But just so everyone does know that it will be open to the public. Just going back to your survey, me personally, I think that the community spoke loud enough on that, and I think that we need to get some type of consensus of if the board wanted to do a survey. I think that, in my opinion, it doesn't justify the amount of money, especially after only 23% of the community said that they would support this, and so for us to go out, it was the money, and so and it's very clear. At least it's very clear to me in a sense. So but I'm just one of seven, and let's go around the table to see what the other board members think. Should we do the survey, or we shouldn't do a survey? I think Dr. O'Malley has expressed why.
Yes.
I think maybe a comment card. I mean, I think it's very important for us to understand what are the major issues that the community had with supporting referendums, so that we can, when we go back, we can review them and come up with something that's more reasonable and more fitting to the community. Because the fact of the matter is that we have operating costs that need to be adjusted, and we have parts of the building that need to be fixed. So I would like to see some comments. We can put together like 5 things and you can say yes or no, but I'd like to see the community write some comments. And I don't know, we can work with the communication committee to make that happen, unless anybody else has it.
I just think that obviously, I'm not in favor of cutting and reducing activities for the children and programs and the whole 9 yards. Obviously, I'm not in favor of that. But at the same time, I'm in science, so I see facts, I see numbers, and the results speak very loud. 78%, 77.21 voted no, and the rest, 22%, 52 voted yes. I think that's a clear message sent to us, and I believe that one of the reasons, many reasons, but one of them is that there's a distrust. First of all, the product that we're trying to sell wasn't a good product, so not a lot of people bought it. The second thing is, I believe there's distrust between the board and the community. And we tried to have communications, we tried to have meetings, we tried to robocalls. From the communication committee, we did everything that we possibly could think of, except for the newspaper, Mike, and that's a fantastic idea. But at the same time, I think we need to rekindle that trust from the community, understand what they want, understand what they can afford to help us, and to move forward, to move into the next level. I understand, Dr. O'Malley, that there's a timeline for us to follow because the next election is in March, and we have to present, and I completely understand all that. Now, but I think one of the major issues that we have, is understand why they voted no, understand and reignite the trust between the board and also the community. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have their support, we're not going to pass anything, right? We could have all the best plants in the world, right? We have the best product in the world. But if it doesn't sell and they don't buy it, they're not going to get it. They're not going to go to the store and purchase it. So I urge all of us to really think about the next steps for us, for the children, for the children, for the school, and for the community.
And just to recap, so you're for doing the survey?
No, I'm not, because we already did it our budget to pay for another survey. As an example, we spent $25,000 for the previous survey, and then the air conditioner was broken, and we didn't have any money to fix it. So I'd rather provide an instrument for the children versus take the money out and invest them.
Thank you. Mike, sure.
I have a quick question. Under our original contract with the outfit that did our survey and put together all of those, is an exit survey part of that fee?
No,
So,
no, it's not. That's,
okay.
you know, typically the exit survey, like for example, we treated an exit survey, I would park it, because they could afford that cost. However, if we chose to do it, we'd have to pay for the postage and the printing, so it's a minimal fee. If we were to do if we were to actually pay for it, it'd be far more expensive. So the representative who we've been working with, Paul Hanley, said that he would basically put it together for free, do it in black and white, just to get a better perspective of the position. And let's be clear, I mean, when we did that survey, it went through two committees, went through the finance and the communications, and they both agreed to move forward with that. We put it on the board agenda and we approved it. So I want to be very clear on how that came to fruition. And so that was done prior to the beginning of the school year with the new budget. That was paid out of prior year expenses, not the current year expenses. So it's not included in that budget. So I want to be very clear to the public and make sure that that's understood.
So with that in mind.
And by the way, in addition, if we do post in the newspaper, there's costs with the newspaper as well. So let's be mindful of those expenses if we move forward too.
Okay, well, with that in mind then, and to maintain our fiscal responsibility, I'm also gonna vote no for the survey. So I think the community voiced their on the election day.
Mike, your thoughts?
We need to have some way to communicate with the public to find out what they're willing or not willing to do, or find out what it is. So I would have to be for a survey. You're saying $2,000 to $3,000. I know that costs money, but then again, I don't know what, like you said, what do you put on the survey?
I can also do the survey monkey shop.
I'm sorry, that's a yes or a no?
That's the answer.
Great. John?
I believe that we need to give the community an opportunity to come forward and allow them to speak their mind and know that we are listening. We did a survey. It wasn't the greatest of returns, although they said it was adequate, it wasn't the greatest. And I feel that there's part of this community that feels that we didn't listen to the results and voted something that wasn't supported by the survey. So throwing good money after bad is not something that I'm in favor of. However, I think we need to think outside of the box. We need to give the community an opportunity, an avenue, however we need to look at it, to come forward and give us their opinions and tell us what they feel is important and tell us how we can come to some better understanding of what this community can sustain and is willing to support. So that would be a no to the survey,
Great.
but a yes to thinking outside of the box for another opportunity for that to happen.
Cindy?
I would agree with Jennifer with saying that. I mean, the $2,000 or $3,000 that it would cost, I feel like we should be using that towards the kindergartens and PTAs in the classroom for the teachers in the classroom longer because they're extremely overcrowded right now. They did that more than we need paper to come back to tell us to do A, B, or C, and you're still gonna have community members that are still gonna not agree with it. You're still gonna get a big chunk of them coming back saying don't do anything at all, which obviously is not an option. So I think, no, the price was too much. I like the idea of thinking outside the box, to be able to have, but there's no way, it's never gonna come back saying, okay, charge each house $500, everybody agrees on it from the survey and move on. So I don't know how much benefit we're gonna get out of a survey versus being able to use that money to keep the kids safe and together.
Okay. Great. So basically, the consent says that we do not want to pay for a survey. So would everyone agree that we go back to Paul Hanley and ask him to develop a survey that we can put on Survey Monkey perhaps and see, at least get something out there?
How will that
do
be?
it free?
Our cost is the postage and the printing is where my understanding of the cost of doing the survey. It's not putting it together. So is it possible to ask him to put it together and for us to look at other means, thinking outside the box, saying, do we do Survey Monkey? I don't know what other means are there besides Survey Monkey that doesn't cost us anything, so.
How would that address the community members who we don't have email addresses for?
That's exactly.
So I think we have to go to the senior center and to get the people maybe involved in other groups. And
Absolutely.
churches get it in the bulletin saying, hey, please go to Survey Monkey at churches. And, I mean, like, other, just like start thinking out of the box so it's free. And,
Or think of when they perhaps contact ARC, I think we had talked about that a couple of times, and seeing when there are senior events already occurring in the community and going and speaking to them and having them, you know, speak their minds and tell us what's truly going on, what they feel. Same with the churches and the other organizations in the community. It's a built-in audience, people are already going to church, we could, you know, utilize that group already to get some information. There's no sense in recreating the wheel, because a Survey Monkey is gonna be great for the community that we have email addresses for all of the parents, but.
they still won't get a great return because
Exactly,
it's the
and I
same
don't-
thing every time.
Can't
The
we treat it like
reality
a
is,
census?
the reality is, you're surveying the registered voters. The registered voters are the people who go out and vote. The majority of your registered voters, the majority, in fact, I think it's greater than 65, I think it's about 35% of your registered voters are 65 and older, give or take. They do not go on email. They do not do email. Some of them, they're at home. They do not leave their home often. And so my fear is the accuracy of the data, whether it's qualitative or quantitative. Anecdotal is a little more qualitative than it is quantitative. The quantitative data is what's going to drive this decision. I don't do surveys. I don't do surveys. And I know we can be creative and create our own survey, but me doing a survey, there's always going to be that mistrust. The board doing the survey, there's going to be that mistrust. By using a third party, you're able to bridge the gap of trust because you have an unsolicited opinion that's filtered and brought before us. If you choose not to, we can go back to the original data. And it's very clear what the original data states, correct?
No,
That's not an option.
Right? 60% said what?
no.
No.
But did they elaborate?
60% said no. They did elaborate, and this is what I presented. I've done this, and this presentation's out there. I've done it numerous times. They said, we love world language, we don't want to pay for it. We love band, we don't want to pay for it. We love kindergarten, full day, we don't want to pay for it. That's what the results said. So we could always go back to that survey if you so choose, but here's what I'm going to say, be careful. Because us making our decisions is where the mistrust comes, right? Because once we're going out on this ledge and we're making decisions on our own, there's a little bit of mistrust. And I know we want to be cost conscious, I'm just putting it on there. But I'm letting you know, I don't do surveys. I don't do surveys. I could do a survey, but I'm going to tell you that it's not going to be accurate. It's going to reflect why people voted no. And I've heard a lot of things why people voted no. I've heard, this is anecdotal, right? It's cost too much. That's pretty consistent. I don't want to pay for a permanent increase. I heard that. I don't want my kids going to school on one site. I heard that. And I'm sure you've heard many more in addition to what I've basically represented. But you have to make decisions. Like kids in the classroom, back in the day, we just made decisions without data. Here you saw nothing but data. We're making decisions based on data. You're paying for the Ames Web, you're paying for the map, and you're making decisions based on data. Those are assessments. We have professionals who do that. And so you can, and I understand we want to be cost conscious. We want to put the money toward the students. And I've already said that publicly, right? Everybody wants me to get a business manager. I told you if you gave me the money, I just put it back into the kindergarten, the first grade, or some other program. So you know I'm on the same page as you. I'm just saying that, you know, having gone through this once, we all went through this once, we need to be mindful that the process is what helps us make a decision. Because when the superintendent task force sits down, what information are they going to have before them to make a decision? What information, when the mayor has to look at that and make a decision, what information is going to have? When a professional or trustee from the park district sits down, what information are they going to have to make a decision?